How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Let me know if you can hear me okay in the chat. Oh my gosh, I've missed you guys. I haven't been on for several days. And yeah, I think that's going to change because school starts tomorrow here. So schedules are going to be changing and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight. I'm excited. So Lil Red for the win again. She has gotten the court documents from the lawsuit that Letecia filed against Horry County schools back in Myrtle Beach. And, you know, this is something we've all been really curious about for a long time. So I'm really excited to dig into these and kind of see what we can find. So what I've done is looked at them, but not in depth. So I've read them. I kind of, while I was doing other things, like we were out swimming, and I was kind of going through and trying to pull the ones I thought would be the most relevant, that would have the most information. This lawsuit has 34 different filings, and I've pulled 1, 5, 6, 32, and 34. So because I didn't read them like with a quiet space where I could really absorb all the information and that kind of thing, I don't really know what we're about to get into. And there may be a reason to pull a different one that, you know, I don't have ready or something like that. And we can always do that. So that is the plan. But yeah, I'm happy to hang out with you guys. Just a little late night chit chat kind of thing. And let me say hello to you. Then we'll bring Jen up. But let me say, so my friend Jen, who has been going through all kinds of Letecia style content with me since her trial, like whether it's going through phone calls and video visits and that kind of stuff, or going through court documents, trial recaps, just all the things. She's going to be with us tonight to go through some of this. And she is very, very close to 10,000 subscribers. If you have not subscribed to her channel is in the description box. Please go subscribe. I would love that so much. And I think that I'm excited to see her continue to grow. So, okay. Hey, Queen Bella. Hey, Crime Crochet and Coffee. No. I can't do gray. Hey, Mayla's mom. Hey, Emily. Hey, Michelle. Julie. Pointer Lover. Roro. Hey, Ange. Hey, Preschool Granny. Lee the Bee. Curious Christine, Natasha, good to see you guys. I've missed you, but I will say, hey, Sprinkled Donut, hey, Brandy, Teacup, Debbie. Like, after I hadn't been on for a while, it's just so weird to like get back into it and kind of like, I know I'm going to be awkward as hell. Y'all forgive me. Okay. I'm awkward anyways. And we know that at this point, but just expect some extra awkwardness. Hey, Pinche Becky. Hey, Scott H. Way to go, Lil Red. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Mama 45. Hey, Kimberly. Thank you. Music City Mom, I have missed you guys. Hey, Bogart, and anybody that I missed, thank you guys for being here. Hey, Sarah, let me bring Bindi up. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm pretty good.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank
excited
you for saying that. That was nice of you. I appreciate that, babe.
Oh, you're welcome. I meant it. Like I'm excited to watch you grow, and I think people will love your channel. And I just wanted to explain it like in a way for maybe somebody who hadn't been here through all the Letecia stuff. So
yeah, I can't believe how much Letecia stuff we've been through.
I know. I noticed that we've went through all kinds of Letecia content together. Thinking about like videos and stuff. So we went through lots of stuff. You're right. It is a lot. Hey, I'm curious, Chris. I appreciate that so much.
You're a little robot-y, babe. You're a little robot-y.
Hold on.
Okay.
What about now? Am I better?
Yes, now you're better. Mm-hmm.
No?
Do you need help? Do you need me to share something? Would that make it easy? Or
no? Well, I should be good if my audio does cut out. Please let me know because we're having a bad storm. I told you that before.
Yeah,
so
you
it's
did.
gonna mess with all of our internet. But
Yeah, you're still a little
um,
tiny
I
bit
did.
robot-y.
Okay, let me try something else. Hold on.
Okay.
But can you hold on?
I'm just sitting here like I can't speak because Allie's not even. Sorry, you guys. That's part of having somebody up on panel so there isn't dead air. Way to go, Jen Lou. Way to go. Hey, you guys, how are you? It's nice to see everybody. I've missed you all. I've missed chatting with Allie. Can't wait to see this lawsuit and what all it entails. I haven't actually looked into it. Allie asked me, offered to send it to me, and I was like, no, let me be surprised. I like to be surprised. Hold on a second. I just have to cough. Give me a sec. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, I have no idea what all this entails. So I'm kind of excited to go through this with you guys and Allie, for real. Can't wait.
Okay, let me know if you can hear me
Much
now.
better.
Okay, awesome. Well, the internet that I've been using recently is like a portable Wi-Fi that works anywhere, and it's way faster than my home internet. But when it rains, it's not as great. And this is the home internet, so at least you can hear me. And I don't know if you could hear me, Curious Christine, but I said, and I wanted to say thank you so much for the super sticker, because I do really appreciate that so much. Thank you. And then thank you, Pointer Lover, for being a member for 30 months. I appreciate that. 30 freaking months. It's crazy. And thank you for all your help and helping here. I really do appreciate all of it. And yeah, Jen hasn't seen these yet. So Lil Red, I saw your comment. You haven't missed anything. We just are getting started. And I had asked Jen, do you want me to send this to you before the live? And she was busy. So she was like, no, we'll see it during. But, I haven't really seen it either. I paid attention to, okay, this is the complaint. She's got the finding, like all the facts and accusations. I made sure to grab what happened at the end, those kind of things. But there was, I didn't read it and absorb a lot of it. So I'm excited. I have wondered for a long time about everything with Letecia before the crime, because it's hard to get your hands on. She does have a criminal record from before the murder, but it's hard to actually get to see any of that. I have contacted both counties that she's got charges in, so Robeson County, North Carolina, and Horry County, South Carolina, and I wasn't able to get anything. One of them did say that you could come in person or send in the request form in a physical, print it
mail
off,
it.
put it out, and mail it. Yeah. And then the other one, they never got back to me. And I noticed when I was looking up like old articles and stuff from when she first committed the crime, different news agencies weren't able to get anything back from them either. So to get this was really exciting. I'm really excited to look at this.
Yeah. There are a lot of states that really require you to come in person. Their policy and the way that they see, the Freedom of Information Act really is that we have the right to inspect stuff as the public, right? But it isn't clear how each state is to do it. So each state has their own way of, as long as it's accessible, and if they offer and they say, well, you can come and view the records in person, then they are making it accessible. They're
Right.
not under any obligation to send stuff. So the
Yeah.
fact that it's hard. There are states that make it very difficult for you know, their records to be looked
Obtained.
into,
Yeah.
obtained from from out of state.
Right.
Obviously, if you live there, it's a lot easier, but still, Florida is one of the freest ones. I mean, it's pretty. It's my understanding that now that Sarah Boone has her discovery, that the public can request it as well. As curious as I am, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not going to do that, and I'll tell you why. As much as I want to see it, if I am local to Florida, and I never know who's watching my lives unless they're in the live chat and they're chatting. You know, I don't know who, or if they leave a comment after, then I know. But I don't want to do anything to. She does have the right to a trial. And the most important thing, really, for me is that George and his family get justice. And I don't want to do anything, however unintentional and no malicious it might be. I don't want to do anything to potentially get in the way of that. So I will just wait
Yeah.
for the trial.
Oh, I know. I know you're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. And it seems like a lot of people are. It's going to be really interesting to see her represent herself in a trial, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things. Patricia said only 4 more sleeps until it's Alex's birthday, folks. And you are right. I'm so excited. And I know that it's 4 more sleeps until it's your Alex's birthday, too, right? And then Scott says, not to overstep, but can I ask why Lil Red doesn't have mod status given their contributions? Well, honestly, you know what? I adore Lil Red, but it was never really something that I was curious if she would even want. She had never mentioned it, and we don't get a lot of trolls or anything. So I'm not, the mods, and there's not a lot that they have to do. So really, it just wouldn't really be something that I would think of naturally, I guess, unless we were having like a lot of trouble. But if that was something that she was interested in or wanted, I would certainly definitely talk to her about it and consider it, because I do adore Lil Red and I appreciate her sending us all of these documents to go through that. So that's all. It wasn't, yeah, just, I don't know. I guess sometimes, like, on these channels, the mods don't, there's not as many trolls and stuff, or unless you're growing really fast, and then you might be like, oh my God, I need more mods. And I've had moments like that where the chat was huge, but unless I have those moments, I just don't really think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all. Oh, yeah. Hey, Homer, good to see you. Homer, don't go back. We're just
No, go back. Stay right here. We were just chit-chatting.
Look, Patricia says it's my daughter Alex's birthday on the same day as our beautiful host, Alex. That is
I
so
love
freaking
that.
cool. Well,
Allie is a Virgo, you guys, not a Leo, but she's a cusp. She's close.
Yeah.
She's on the cusp. But I think Allie possesses more Virgo traits than she does Leo. And I should know because I got 2 Virgos. Minnie Bindi is a Virgo, and my youngest son is also a Virgo. Minnie Bindi is going to be 19 this year, y'all.
That's crazy. I know that they grow so fast. Well, I'm definitely way more Virgo. I'm not really big on, like, I get really anxious I'm anxious. Let's just say that in everything. So,
that's the Virgo thing.
Yeah.
Virgos are anxious people.
Yeah. Okay. So here was the first PDF for the suit. And, it's a kind of, it seems like there's going to be a lot of information that we get from this regarding her claims, her accusations, exactly what's going on. So I'm excited. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. No, I appreciate you, Lil Red, getting these. This is so cool to be able to see this. And yeah, it just means so much to me. Thank you.
Isn't that crazy, Michelle, that Minnie Bindi is going to be 19? Y'all, she just graduated, it feels like. It feels like I just had her, honestly.
It does feel like she just graduated and went to prom.
I know. And you guys were all there with me. That prom night was so much fun.
Susie says, I'm Leo, Leo cusp. MJ, Bendy, and Alex seem to have the kindest channels. I typically don't see a lot of haters. You know what? I think that we try to be like, I know actually, I think I don't want to speak for them, but I think I could say this. I know that we all try to allow people to kind of have their say. And I'm a mod for both channels, and specifically with Melissa, she's told me before, don't delete anything. And I know Jen feels, in a similar way where we like to let people have their opinions and stuff. And they're usually, you know, regardless of how they feel, whether it's one way or another, pretty respectful or kind about it. There's not a lot of
Yeah. Like I have had some propositions in my chat, and even then I don't delete it. I pretty much let everybody say what they need to say.
look, Lisa.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, thank you. I appreciate that, babe. I just want to do a charity stream so bad. You guys have no idea. I appreciate that.
Yeah. 10,000 subscribers, you can do a charity stream, and Jen has been like really looking forward to that for a while now. So if we can help her get to 10K, I would appreciate it so much. And like I said, her channel's in the description, and I'll drop it throughout the live in the chat too. And yeah, Patricia says Virgo are highly empathetic and very, very intuitive and super helpful.
Yeah, they are. They're very, very empathetic and intuitive.
That's so true. And
helpful.
Mm-hmm. But also anxious and particular, and OCD, and just all those things too.
Yes. They're very, this is what I like about Allie, because this part of the Virgo isn't her. Virgos are very matter of fact and very, once they've made up their mind about something, that's that. And they're very, there's really no gray with a Virgo. They either like it or they don't. There's really no in between. They don't really have in between feelings. But Allie isn't like that.
Oh, yeah.
She will try to see things. She has to remind me all the time. She's very, very good about reminding me. Now, Jen, come on, Bendy.
Out of all the traits that we just described of Virgo, though, I feel like I have most of those except for, the last ones like that you just mentioned. When it comes to all the other stuff, like, I think those are probably the worst parts about me, like the anxiousness, being particular, like needing to have a plan. I don't like to do anything. If I don't plan to do it, I do not want to do it. Don't call me and be like, I'm coming over. No. Do not do that to me, because I can't take it. It like wrecks my nerves. I need to know ahead of time. Okay.
Yeah, my Virgos they needed to know what the plan for the day was. They can be flexible in that plan, but don't be just surprising them. Don't spring anything on them. Don't be like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to go do. It doesn't even matter if it's something fun. It does not matter. They need to know ahead of time.
That is so true. That is so, even if it's something fun, that's pretty funny. Okay, you guys.
All right, now let's really get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get started. And look, I know I'm going to put a timestamp at the end. We're 21 minutes in. Many people watching the replay might get frustrated with that, but part of what we do here is just kind of hang out and enjoy each other and talk and chat and give our feelings about stuff. And sometimes it might be just random stuff, but that's really part of what my channel is. Like, if I'm doing a live chat, I want to hang out with you guys. I want to chat with you guys. We want to go through the information too, of course, but if it's just about the information, then that would be like a separate video. So, okay. All right. So this is it was filed on 4/20 of 2016. Let's see. All conditions precedent to jurisdiction under Title VII, blah, blah, blah. Notification of the right to sue was received on January 22nd of 2016.
Was she
Plaintiff,
pro se or did she have an attorney? I didn't see that.
I don't know. It doesn't say here. It just says plaintiff Letecia Stauch, FKA Letecia Harden Hunt. She must have,
Formerly known as, yeah.
they
I
must
don't
have
see an attorney.
spelled her name wrong, though. Look at the way it's spelled.
What? Which one is spelled wrong?
Lateci.
Oh, yeah. Now I see it. Oh, interesting. Huh. I'm curious sometimes if that's why we don't have a hard time finding things on her.
Oh, that's interesting, Jen. Probably so. I would say that would have something to do with it. Oh, Homer, thank you. That was really sweet.
That
Thank you,
is sweet of
Homer.
you. Well, yeah, see, because we know we know her correct government name, the correct spelling of her government name. But we have seen in other documents that her name has been spelled differently.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering if that's the problem. Why we're not able. Okay.
I would definitely say that has something to do with it. So, Letecia is a citizen and resident of the state of South Carolina and resides in Horry County, South Carolina. All discriminatory employment practices alleged herein were committed within Horry County of Horry, state of South Carolina. Defendant, Horry County School District, hereinafter referred to as Horry, upon information and belief, is a corporate governmental entity operating as a public school in the County of Horry, state of South Carolina. Defendant company is a person within the meaning of Title VII, the Civil Rights Act from 1964. Excuse me. Defendant company employs 15 or more employees and is an employer within the meaning of that Civil Rights Act. The parties, matters, and all things and matters hereinafter alleged are within the jurisdiction of the court. So now this is going to be the statement of facts. On or about 2010, plaintiff began working for the defendant as a teacher's aide and interventionist. In 2012, she began as a special education teacher. So there is some information. We've wondered kind of exactly what she's done, and we can see here for sure. In 2010, she was a teacher's aide and an interventionist, which what is that? An interventionist, Jen, do you know? Jen might be smoking. So, and then in 2012, she became a special education teacher. At all times, the plaintiff was efficient and effective in her work. During her employment with the defendant, she was subjected to inappropriate sexual advances, comments, and gestures by her assistant principal and evaluation team leader, William Mayer, on numerous occasions. The plaintiff received let me actually pause for a moment and about this interventionist. R.L. Froese says, interventionist goes in and helps with the testing they do on the computer to gather student data. Thank you. Someone who helps with speech and mobility on delayed children. I do not believe any of this trash, Larissa. I was wondering when I read the statement that she was efficient and effective in her work, I was like, do I pause here and give commentary?
Oh gosh.
Okay. All right. So the plaintiff received a suggestive text message from Mr. Mayer on or about July 22nd, 2012. Quote, the best nuts you'll ever put in your mouth. Eat them like you mean it. Try my nuts, unquote. Mr. Mayor asked the plaintiff if he should get something for the plaintiff from this place. The plaintiff responded no, and Mr. Mayor continued harassing as why not and stating that's my favorite. The plaintiff did not respond. Mr. Mayor continued texting the plaintiff until she finally responded again with a no. Oh, hell to the no. I got to stop here because Try My Nuts is like well known in the Carolinas. It is one of the best peanut companies. They have this stuff called white trash. That's their thing. They do like really suggestive, just kind of
Double entendres.
Yes, and like the white trash is a white chocolate coated Chex Mix basically, and with peanuts. And they have, that's their thing. Like that's the point of it, is to be like a little, on the line, like. So whatever, the fact he continued harassing as why not. It's people usually when they see that place for the first time, or if they're talking to someone who hasn't seen it, they will make jokes about it. You know what I mean? Just because it's the point of the company, but it actually is really good peanuts and Chex Mix and stuff. It's the bomb. You guys could look it up online, and
I wonder if you can order from there and have it shipped.
Oh my gosh, if you can, you should try the white trash. It is so good. And they also do like dill pickle peanuts and all these different flavors. They have a lot of good stuff.
All right. It does remind me a little bit of the sweaty ball shtick from Saturday Night Live.
I don't know that, but
oh my God, you have to watch it. It's Alec Baldwin and Anna Gasteyer and Molly Shannon. And it's like two girls that host like a podcast, and the guy's last name is Schwetty, and he makes, cookie balls, and they're, Schwetty balls. I can hardly wait to get my mouth around them. It's just hilarious.
That's funny that you knew exactly what she was talking about. But here, I pulled up the website. You can get them shipped to you. Okay. And they have this dip mix that is so good too. But see, look, Butt Munch, barbecue peanuts, Southern Heat. they've got names like that. Like that's the whole point of it. Look, trash, white trash, dirty white trash has chocolate all over it. It's really good though. And so you can't tell me that Tisha, I'm sorry,
took all that so seriously. She was clutching her pearls. Alice, back up off. Can y'all hear her?
Yes.
Can you hear Alice?
No.
She's purring into the microphone. I'm shocked y'all can't hear
her. Susie. Do y'all still have the candle? I wonder if they do. Let's see. Strawberry chocolate. I'm about to go to the store in a couple days in person, but there is a tab here on the website called candles. Yeah. Oh yes, I remember, because they had like the monkey one that's like banana chocolate. Yeah, they have
Smell My Nuts, Butt Naked. I like it.
Something like that. Yes,
I see it right there. Even though you're scrolling so fast.
Sorry, I can't believe you caught that, but yes,
well, of course.
Exactly
hello.
This is the one I was talking about: banana nut bread, toasted coconut, and hazelnut. It's really good.
I need that in my life. What's the Butt Naked one?
Let me see.
Sorry, you guys, to take this detour.
Well, it doesn't describe it on the thing, so I'm not sure. I don't know that I've seen that one, but I do know that Letecia, having grown up in the Carolinas, she grew up in North Carolina near the border, moved to this county. She certainly knew that this was a thing there, because I haven't even been here that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Okay. Ken's patiently waiting for y'all to drop some calls. Well, we do have, I guess, I don't know. I've been awful. I need to just go ahead and edit those last 2 hours. I've already got them halfway done. I haven't done it yet. I guess the June call, I just have a bad taste in my mouth over some stuff, I suppose. And it's pushed me away from wanting to do it as much. We also are waiting on calls that are completely new, and, those should be here anytime.
I keep checking the email. Don't you worry, Allie. I've been on it because I know you've been busy. You've had family in town and stuff like that. So I've been keeping an eye on stuff. Don't you worry.
Thank you, because I haven't checked, but the kids go back to school tomorrow. I'll get the last 2 hours, and can hold ourselves over with those until
Yeah.
we hold you guys over. Okay, so on July 22nd, she has there's the try my nuts text message. So then 5 days later, apparently, according to Letecia, on July 27th, Mr. Mayer began texting the plaintiff about another teacher, asking about her, quote, big booty, unquote, and if she was into guys, that's another quote, and finally stating that he was a, quote, boob man, unquote. On or about July 27th, the plaintiff asked Mr. Meyer through text message if he was stalking her after he texted her to have fun at work. On or about July 28th, Mr. Mayer texted the plaintiff and asked, how would you rate yourself in bed? On several occasions, Mr. Mayer would come to the plaintiff's residence, confront the plaintiff's roommate, Courtney Royals. Mr. Mayer would beg her to get the plaintiff to come outside and talk to him. Mr. Mayer would also wait outside and text the plaintiff repeatedly to come outside. Mr. Mayer would come to her house intoxicated and push his way into her house and sit on the couch. Mr. Mayer then passed out on the plaintiff's couch until the plaintiff was able to wake him up and make him leave. On or about, well, let me pause there because this is all from around the summertime, and then we're going to get into November. I do want to say, if someone is being sexually harassed, no matter who they are, that's not okay.
Right.
But with Letecia, we know that she's made these claims against a lot of people. You know what I mean?
That's the hard thing. On its face, if you're just reading the allegations, taking away who is making them, everything but the try my nuts, everything else seems to be what I would consider harassment.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
but it's also, but now when you introduce the fact that it's Letecia and she's been known to make false allegations, then it's hard. It's questionable.
Yeah, absolutely. Crumb crocheting coffee. I did grab several, I got the end of this to see how it ends and several things along the way. So we're going to see what comes out of this. So on or about November 22nd, Letecia received a message, according to Letecia, from Mr. Mayer stating that if the plaintiff, Letecia, would hang out with Mr. Mayer, he, quote, wouldn't be so aggressive, unquote. Then on or about January 25th, 2013, Mr. Mayer told the plaintiff, Letecia, he had secured her a coaching position for the softball team. Mr. Mayer then asked her what his reward would be. In February, the plaintiff was confronted by Mr. Mayer stating that she was wearing incorrect shoes. Mr. Mayer stated that the plaintiff better come around with some favors for him since he was doing the plaintiff a favor by not making her change her shoes. The plaintiff told Mr. Mayer she did have on appropriate shoes and that if he did not stop harassing her, she would report him. On or about March the 12th, 2013, Mr. Mayer told the plaintiff that her evaluation meeting was coming up and she needed to meet him in the book room because there were no cameras in there. On or about April of 2013, during a sports banquet, Mr. Mayer told Letecia that all of the dads would be staring at the plaintiff in her dress. Mr. Mayer told her that he wished he could, quote, get up in it, unquote, and that the plaintiff needed to quit being stingy. And that's another quote from Mr. Mayer. Mr. Mayer told the plaintiff that he had done enough for the plaintiff at work to earn a reward. Mr. Mayer also stated that the plaintiff's boyfriend can't treat her like Mr. Mayer would in the bedroom. In May, the plaintiff reported the sexual harassment to the Human Resource Director, Dr. Addie Swinney, and gave a statement. The plaintiff was retaliated against immediately and moved from the school to the district office for the last 2 weeks of the school year. On or about June 7th, she was further retaliated against when she received an email from the defendant stating that she had been moved from Ocean Bay Middle School to Conway High School for the upcoming school year, which is a considerable distance from her home. Okay, Letecia, so they were like, oh, she reported this guy for sexual harassment. We're going to make her ass drive an extra 30 minutes every day. Like, really? Come on. I'm sorry, but that just sounds
She
ridiculous.
loves that word retaliation, doesn't she?
Excuse me.
Tisha, you keep it up being the jailhouse lawyer, and you're going to know about some retaliation. Boo.
Yeah, you're going to know all about it being the
Mm.
civil law attorney for inmates. Okay, so on or about June 24th, the plaintiff emailed Dr. Swinney and asked if there was an appeal to the relocation. She did not receive a response. She was further retaliated against during the school year when she did not receive the necessary workbooks, textbooks, and other teaching materials to teach her class or complete her curriculum. The plaintiff asked for the requested materials throughout September of 2013. On or about October 29th of 2013, she emailed Dr. Sweeney again, Molly Lout, and Kenneth Jenneret regarding the retaliation received. And then on November 1st, she received an email containing a calendar invite for a meeting with Dr. Sweeney on November 1st, 2013. Jen, let me ask you something. So, all of these claims that she's made against people before, this sounds so similar to the lawsuits we're reading now. Just not the details, but this, oh, this person retaliated against me for this. But she never includes, it's just like the losing her tablet was, she claimed retaliation for making a report against a guard when.
Right.
In reality, she sold sweatpants for $200, and that's why she lost her tablet.
Right.
So,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Would those be relevant in the new suits, like all these old claims she's made that sound so similar?
Well, the thing is, not an attorney, but I know that when you are in a criminal situation, when you're facing criminal charges, you're on trial for a criminal charge. They cannot bring up past bad acts to illustrate that you are the type of person, because of these prior bad acts, you would be the type of person to commit this bad act. That they consider that to be prejudicial. However, the rules of evidence and what's admitted and what's not admitted in a civil trial or in a civil suit are different than a criminal trial. And because civil suits mainly rely on the credibility of either the petitioner or the respondent, then I would think the answer would be yes, for limited purposes. They might some of this might be allowed in.
Well, I mean, it sounds so similar to what we're reading now, and you can see just the way her brain works. Like,
What's interesting about Letecia is this all starts off fairly, it's irritating. It's a nuisance, right? Up until he forces his way into her house after he's intoxicated. See, to me, now, I am not a law caller, but I would call the law for that, for nothing else than to make a paper trail, because that's really invasive for somebody to show up at your house, drunkard and cooter brown, and then force their way into the house. That would be, especially because she's got a daughter, children, period. It wouldn't matter to me. I mean, I've got sons and I've got daughters, and it wouldn't matter to me if I had only had the boys or if I had only had the girls. I would have responded either way. You have to protect your children. And to me, I would see that as it cannot control him. The person cannot control himself. He is, clearly got some type of, if she's telling the truth here, right, then he's obviously fixated on her. And I would want to start a paper trail to protect myself and my children, period.
Oh, I
And this is
completely
one thing
agree.
I don't understand about Letecia is there's not really she she goes right to the lawsuit. You know, it doesn't. I mean, from what I'm here reading now, you know, from what Allie's reading now, it seems like she doesn't try to do anything in the interim, and anything that the job did, which is to move her, that's retaliation.
Well, yeah. And I agree with you, but and also did Natasha's comment, which I accidentally pulled it down, not thinking, and I was meaning to read it. It said, she's literally the reason that other people are not believed or other people don't come forward. And how do you feel about that?
Yes, Letecia is
Yeah.
people that do the things that Letecia does makes it harder. It's already hard to come forward as a victim anyway. There is um, a certain level of shame, and it's different for each victim in each circumstance. But when you're in a situation, in a work environment situation, where somebody who is um, outranks you, has, you know, is a supervisor or above you in some capacity, and you don't really know what to do, and you don't want to get them in trouble, you just want it to stop, you know, and
Right.
then you're wondering, did I, because I've had this happen to me at jobs before, and thankfully for me it wasn't like he wasn't a supervisor or anything, but he, you know, he would come and stand like too close behind me and talk, you know, it just gave me the ick. It was just too much in my bubble. And I'd asked him to stop a couple of times, and finally when he didn't stop, then I went and talked to somebody about it, you know.
Yeah.
But had he gone further than that and like followed me home or something, it would have been different. But you know, there's a level of shame already. Like, did I, you know, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't where I worked, and it's not about how you dress, but of course, I think that way. You know, I worry. Did I do something? Did I say something sometime that I didn't realize could be perceived as flirting? You know, and this was when I worked at Walmart, and our uniforms was khakis and a blue shirt. So you know, I wasn't, you know, it's not like I was, you know, working at Hooters or something like that with short shorts on. And even if I had been, that's not, you know, um, that doesn't give somebody the right to make unwanted advances towards anybody, period. It's not about that. But you can't help but think about that when that happens. You wonder, did I, you know? And
Yeah.
I know that on a rational level, what I was wearing should not make a difference. But I can only tell you how I felt in the moment. I
Yeah.
did wonder.
Right. Well, I think it's natural to wonder, but no, it should never make a difference. But for me, with like, the thing is, like, you you saying something like that happened to you, and I believe you instantly. Letecia, it's a different story. And the fact that, and just so far where we're at, without going any further in the lawsuit, that she can make all of these claims, like, of course she would probably have to prove the text messages, we'll see, but it just feels like unfair and dangerous because, and someone had put in the chat, I think it was RL, that you can ruin somebody's whole life, their whole career, everything they've ever worked for, with just a few, with saying something like this.
Yes, these types of accusations are a stain on a person that never goes away, no matter what the outcome is, because there will always be people that wonder, did it happen and there just wasn't enough evidence to prove it?
Yeah,
That's what people will wonder. There will
absolutely.
always be a side eye, you know? So,
From even a couple people, even if it's one person,
right,
there will be.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so after this meeting that they had, the plaintiff received a letter stating the defendant had put her on conduct suspension. The plaintiff emailed the defendant and they stated that the letter was an error and not to leave her position. On or about March 25th, 2014, the plaintiff emailed the defendant's Human Resource Department regarding being placed on leave. The plaintiff's email was not responded to. On or about April 10th, 2014, the plaintiff received a letter from Dr. Swinney notifying the plaintiff that she was on administrative leave as a result of allegations of misconduct. The letter further stated that the defendant was continuing to investigate the matter, but the outcome was pending. On April 11th, the next day, the plaintiff received an additional letter from the defendant enclosing the plaintiff's employment contract for the upcoming school year. The plaintiff emailed Dr. Swinney regarding the letters received and her confusion as to being on leave. The plaintiff was informed the letter was sent in error. On or about June 1st, the plaintiff received a letter stating that her benefits were terminated June 1st. The plaintiff began teaching during the 2014-2015 school year. Her benefits were restored in October of 2014. On or about April of 2015, the plaintiff requested a transfer to a different teaching area. Now, we can see, though, here that she did work for at least these few years, which, we get the impression with everything else we've seen that she never kept a job for very long, but she had to have received that money that she got in there, so probably from this time period here, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on or about April 2015, the plaintiff requested a transfer to a different teaching area. The plaintiff was informed that she needed to fill out a statement of resignation to apply for the different position. On or about April of 2015, she completed the form requesting a transfer and explaining that she wanted to leave the special education area and teach social studies. The form was also witnessed and signed by Janice Christie. On April the 23rd, 2015, she received a letter from Dr. Swinney accepting the resignation effective July 1st. The plaintiff emailed Dr. Swinney expressing she did not resign. She just asked for a transfer. He stated he would look into the matter. In a final retaliation against the plaintiff, the defendant did not reinstate the plaintiff into the district and terminated her position. It was the duty of defendant by and through their agents, servants, and or employees to prevent such acts and behavior from occurring and to stop it once the behavior had been reported. Despite her reporting the behavior, defendant did not take appropriate action to resolve the problems and discipline the plaintiff for Mr. Mayer's inappropriate behavior upon her. That the unjust disciplinary actions and termination of the plaintiff was the response by the defendant, its agents, and servants to Letecia's reports and complaints of lewd and inappropriate behavior of Mr. Mayer, including sexual harassment. Following her complaints and following the retaliatory actions, the defendants then terminated the plaintiff. And then they state what this violates. It created a hostile work environment as a direct and proximate result of the acts and practices of defendant and retaliation against plaintiff, creating a hostile work environment and in the constructive discharge of plaintiff from employment. The plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer from emotional pain and suffering, mental anguish, humiliation, loss of enjoyment of life, damage to plaintiff's reputation, and other past and future losses.
Loss of enjoyment of life.
I know. It's pretty
Which
dramatic.
I think if this was an actual claim, if this was a legitimate case, then I can see how that happens. Because you do have, even me, when they talked to that guy at my work, even though I wanted it to stop, and I'd asked him and he ignored me, and then I finally had to say something. It happened to me twice. One time I didn't even, they heard my supervisor, my boss heard heard the guy talking to me that way, and he brought him upstairs and fired him immediately. But I wasn't the only girl he talked to that way. But anyway, that's not the point. I still felt bad because I knew that he was, when he got talked to, I felt bad because I knew that he needed this job. He was, he was working to support his family the same way I was working to support mine. And I felt bad that he might lose his job. So there is a little there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard when these things happen.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Well, I will tell you this. The next one we're going to read is going to be the answer. So maybe we'll get some more from this, and we're just about done with this. So it says, the plaintiff reiterates and realleges each and every allegation. The defendant company as plaintiff and Miss Mayer's employer were wanton and intentional in the harassment. In the following particulars, in visual, physical, and verbal contact by sexual advances and gestures that were initiated, maintained, and repeated after being informed by the plaintiff that the contact was unwanted. In continually allowing Mr. Mayer to maintain his presence near the plaintiff while at work in an uncomfortable and inappropriate manner, and in refusing to remove the plaintiff from the hostile work environment and sexual harassment. That by reason of aforesaid recklessness, willfulness, and wantonness of defendant, plaintiff has suffered injuries both physically and mentally. The defendants violated this Act of 1964 as a direct and proximate result of the acts and practices of defendant in the termination of plaintiff from employment. The plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer from emotional pain and suffering, mental anguish, humiliation, loss of enjoyment of life, damage to her reputation, past and future losses. And let's see. It violates all these different laws. And she has continued to suffer substantial damages for pecuniary losses, embarrassment, humiliation, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and I cannot say that word, and other losses, okay? And she is entitled to injunctive relief and or civil damages from the defendant as a result of the employment discrimination. Due to the acts of the defendants, their agents and employees, the plaintiff is entitled to injunctive relief and or civil damages, back wages plus interest, payment for lost benefits, and reinstatement of benefits and front pay. And this was these actions were the response of her complaining about Mr. Mayer and his inappropriate behavior. Request for relief. Let's see. She prays for the following relief. 1, judgment in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant for all causes of actions in an amount which is fair, just, and reasonable, and for compensatory damages. 2, prejudgment interest, cost, and attorney fees as may be allowed by law, so she had an attorney. 3, judgment in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant with back pay and associated benefits she would have earned with all lost or diminished benefits. 4, judgment in favor of the plaintiff and against defendant for front pay and any other work benefits she lost. Her judgment for her pain and suffering, embarrassment, humiliation, emotional distress. And judgment in such an amount of actual damages, punitive damages, attorney fees, cost of this action, and any other relief this honorable court deems allowable under law. Okay, so here we go. She's being represented by Wigger Law Firm, Inc., Joshua T. Howell, and he is the attorney for the plaintiff at this time. Okay, so now we're going to look at the answer, you guys. Pecuniary. Oh my gosh. Patricia, thank you for trying to help me, but I don't know. Natasha says, I would still wonder if she didn't set him up, even if there were texts, honestly. She's a greasy snake with an itchy ass crack, can't be trusted. Lil Red says she pulled the same stuff in Alaska. Yes, she did. According to Al on those phone calls, she did. So now we have the answer from the school district. So like I said, you guys, when I was going through all the PDFs Lil Red sent me, which she sent us tons of stuff, not just this, and thank you again, but so I was trying to figure out which would be relevant for us to look at. I wanted to see the claims and the answers. So we're skipping through a couple in between, and this is the answer from the school district and their attorneys to all of her claims. So let's see. They are being represented by their counsel, and for its answer, alleges and would show as it follows. Paragraph 1 of plaintiff's complaint states legal conclusions to which a response is neither necessary or required. So they're answering paragraph by paragraph, which I've been kind of seeing and helping someone very close to me, watching them go through a process similar to this, a civil court process, where they have filed, this is the way it works. They are required to answer in their answer to each and every point. So they basically just lined it out. Here's our answer to paragraph 1, 2, 3, because that's what they're required to do. They don't necessarily have to write it this way, but that's what they have to do. So paragraph 2 states legal conclusions to where a response isn't necessary or required. The school district does crave reference to a certain law and denies all allegations of paragraph 2. The school district lacks knowledge and information sufficient to form a belief as the truth to allegations 3. The allegations of paragraph 4 of plaintiff's complaint are denied. The allegations of paragraph 5 are admitted. So let me go back just really quick. So they say that 1, 2. Wait. Would it be here? 4 are denied, and then okay, well, I shouldn't try to do it that way because we're going to get confused. But they admit some, deny some. In response to paragraph 6, the school district craves reference to this Title VII Civil Rights Act and denies any allegation. In response to paragraph 7, they deny any allegations. And same for number 8. And number 9, all allegations of number 9 are denied. In number 10, the defendant craves reference to plaintiff's personnel records and denies any allegation of paragraph 10. Also 11 and 12, all allegations all denied. In response to paragraph 13, the school district craves reference to the July 22nd text between the plaintiff and Mr. Meyer and denies any allegation of paragraph 13 inconsistent. So basically, they're asking for the text, right, Jen? Is that what this is? The school district craves reference to the text between plaintiff and Mr. Meyer. If you're here, if not, I'll ask you when you come back. They continue to say the same thing about the text messages. I'm assuming they're wanting this. They crave reference to the text between plaintiff and Mr. Meyer. School district lacks knowledge and information sufficient to form a belief as to the truth of the allegations of paragraph 17. They are asking for text messages from November with Mr. Meyer. The school district lacks knowledge to form a belief.
That is correct.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
They want the text. Yeah, basically they're going through it. Just it's outlined and numbered. Each complaint in Letecia, each complaint was numbered. So each complaint, each response is a reference to the numbered complaints. So if we had a way to make them side by side, we could, but yes, to answer your question, they want to see the texts.
Thank you.
I'm interested in the personnel records, though, because they make reference to that. And it makes me wonder, if when Letecia got her evaluation, it wasn't all that good, which is what actually was the result of her being removed. And
Yeah.
then this followed.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking too. And then Alicia, so for anybody who's coming in late, what we're going through now is not a current lawsuit. These are lawsuits that happened long before they even moved to Colorado. This is against Letecia and the school district she worked for. We are learning some things with this. We are learning exactly what her job title was and how long she worked there. We're also, we had heard in the past that Al made claims of some of the allegations she had made towards other people in Alaska. So we know the allegations she's making now in prison. So it's just kind of interesting to go back and look at what she was saying back then. So,
Yeah. It's all about the retaliation.
yeah. Everything's retaliation. Nothing is you just, were shitty at your job.
Correct. Nothing is the result of anything that Letitia's done. All the things that happened to Letecia just happened for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now this is kind of interesting. In response to paragraph 23, school district admits that plaintiff complained and gave a statement. All remaining allegations are denied.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. And then more allegations denied. School district admits only so much of paragraph 25 as alleges that it informed plaintiff she was assigned to Conway High School for the upcoming school year. All remaining allegations are denied.
I
They
think
do.
the 20, I think 23 or 25, the one before that, I think has to do with um, the emails and the letters. Her getting she made a complaint, and then the superintendent offered to set a meeting with her.
Okay. Well, I think you're right because there was like some kind of that and then the high school thing. And then here
Yeah,
now they're asking for emails. The school district craves reference to plaintiff's June 24th email and denies any allegation of this paragraph inconsistent therewith. By way of further response, defendant lacks knowledge and information sufficient to form a belief as to whether plaintiff received a response from Dr. Swinney. They want more emails in paragraph 28 and just denying more of her allegations. That's pretty
right.
much. And then
This is
they're asking.
pretty standard. They're basically what her attorney did was write out a list of allegations, i.e., complaints, and didn't include any of the emails or the text. So this is pretty standard. The representative for the lawyer for the school district is saying, well, we can't really, we want to see these things.
Yeah, if you're going to claim it, show it. You need to
Right.
show it. Well,
Yeah.
here we have the school district craves reference to this particular email from March. By way of further response, defendant denies plaintiff's allegation that she did not receive a response. So they're claiming they responded when you said they didn't.
Yes,
Um,
Patricia, they want receipts.
They crave reference to this letter from Dr. Swinney that she got in April, so they want that. They lack knowledge and information to answer certain things in here. The school district admits to so much of paragraph 36 as alleges that plaintiff taught during 2014 and 2015 and that her benefits were restored. So her benefits were taken away from, I guess, June or July to October.
Right.
And they deny the rest. And then they deny. They want another letter from April. They also want the email to Dr. Swinney, and they lack knowledge of and information sufficient to form a belief as to the response of Dr. Swinney. And then look here. The allegations of paragraph 41, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are denied. In response to paragraph 48, the foregoing paragraphs of school district answer are incorporated herein by reference as fully as if repeated verbatim. The allegations of paragraph 49, including all subparts, are denied, as well as paragraphs 50 through 61. For a first affirmative defense, the foregoing paragraphs of school district answer are incorporated by reference as fully as if repeated verbatim. Plaintiff's complaint fails to state facts sufficient to constitute a cause or causes of action against the school district. Let's see.
Oh, and then some of the stuff is they're saying that the statute of limitations is up. Scroll up.
School district pleads the applicable statute of limitations as a complete defense. Good eye, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
Here they plead the provisions of the South Carolina Tort Claims Act to the extent plaintiff seeks to recover against school district for any alleged loss. Plaintiff's claims are barred in whole or in part by virtue of her failure to adequately mitigate her damages as required by law. What does that mean? Adequately mitigate her damages. To say exactly what
she wants.
Okay.
She's saying that she was damaged. First of all, she's saying that her reputation was damaged. You have to show how that. What you have to be specific about that. You have to cite how the reputation was damaged, and she didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, then it's that they say plaintiff's claims are barred in that at all times mentioned in the complaint, the actions and conduct of the defendant was undertaken in a permissible way, in good faith and in reasonable belief that such actions and conducts were lawful and valid. So I guess any action that they took, they believe that it was lawful and valid as far as.
And it wasn't out of retaliation. It wasn't them turning a blind eye to Letecia's complaints, like she has stated.
Look here. Plaintiff failed to meet the established work standards.
Oh, who would have thunk? Yeah. I am shocked, y'all. Shocked.
Plaintiff's claims are barred by her failure to follow the necessary administrative process.
What? What you mean? Hey, she didn't follow. What?
Not Tisha.
No.
And she failed to utilize any available reporting policies and procedures to report any inappropriate conduct in a timely manner. Her dismissal was solely as a result of her requested resignation. So basically, she was dismissed because she asked if she could resign.
Right, exactly. Which, again, I'm sure that exists because they would, the attorneys for school districts, they are very detail oriented because you're talking about just working with children, and then on top of that, right, your school. So you work with children, but then you employ human beings. So you are very vulnerable to lawsuits, right? So you have to always, there's a whole checks and balance system. And I'm not saying that things don't fall through the crack and that there are times when people take action against school districts that are true and they are warranted. I just don't think this is that situation. And they wouldn't be, arguing vehemently and referencing things like this if they didn't actually have the proof.
Right. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to get the proof because this is how it ended. Now, there are several PDFs in the middle, but you don't always, you have to kind of request, I guess, evidence. It didn't even go to trial, so I don't even think there would be evidence on I don't know, Jen, would there be? Because here, let me read to you the last
Okay.
two filings. So the court, having been advised by counsel for the parties that the above action has been settled, hereby orders that this action is hereby dismissed without cost and without prejudice. If settlement is not consummated within a reasonable time, either party may within 60 days petition to reopen. So it was dismissed without prejudice, and we have another stipulation of dismissal without prejudice. Plaintiff hereby dismiss with prejudice all claims that were asserted in this lawsuit. Both parties agreed and stipulated to this that she would dismiss with prejudice, not without, so she couldn't come back and do this again. And the plaintiff hereby forever end her claims against the defendant in this action. So they came to a settlement, and it was dismissed. So what does that mean as far as
what it means is the lawsuit itself was settled. Okay, and then because it was settled between the two parties outside of a judge and or jury did not decide who won. Okay, so this is settled outside of court. So what happens is then there are stipulations to the settlement, which you just read, and so because it didn't even get to the discovery phase, there's probably no evidence. They just settled with her. They probably thought that it was easier to settle than to open themselves up. Now, one thing that I suspect was the reason that they settled is there may have been some evidence to substantiate probably the texts. There probably were texts on Mr. Mayer's part that they were concerned would be potentially construed by a judge or by a jury of sexual harassment. And so it was easier for them just to settle with her.
I bet you're right. I bet you that he did maybe make a text here or there, like the try my nuts text. Because look,
right.
Like I said, here you will hear people say like, if they have a bag of those, hey, try my nuts or whatever, or look at these, try my nuts, just because it's a joke, because it's kind of a vulgar kind of type of company. I'm sure he probably did, but does that mean that everything that happened to her was in retaliation? The school seems to say that she didn't do her job correctly.
Right.
That's clear in those documents.
Exactly. So I think what it was is the school district probably felt like they had her on the majority of the allegations, like the retaliation allegations, but there probably were texts that they weren't willing to roll the dice with.
Yeah.
And so they just decided it would be better off settling, which is what they did.
Yeah, you're so right. Deadeye Danny says she probably trapped him into something. And I could totally see that. And, as a woman, part of me just assuming that about another woman feels wrong. Like, I don't like to do that. It does feel wrong because, I don't know. I just don't like to do it. I think that
it feels wrong to say you don't believe a victim, because that's not usually our stance. Usually you and I are where we try to be as much as we can by telling their story a voice in some capacity. Not to say that we advocate, because there's a big difference. I don't want anybody to be mistaken, but we do try to tell the victim's story and as accurately as possible. And in this situation, under these circumstances, technically, Letecia would be the victim, and it feels like wrong to say, she probably did do something hinky. Look, here's the deal. Letecia, look what she did with Ta'al, with the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
She got Al to think that the ex-boyfriend attacked her, beat her up so that he could swoop in and rescue her, when the truth of the matter is she was the aggressor and she beat him up.
Yeah. Oh, I wish so bad we could get the court records from some of that stuff like before.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, if anybody is near Robeson or Horry County on that line, also where the Micah Miller situation just happened, because Micah and JP lived in Myrtle Beach, but she took her life at that Lumberton State Park. And that made
Mm-hmm.
me think they're closer than I realized. They're just like, right across the state lines from each other in those towns. But yeah, anybody there that wants to get us the documents, let me know.
Yeah, for
Man,
real. I mean, Lil Red, to your point, now we don't view her that way, right? Because now we know what she's done and what she's capable of. But if we're looking back on a lawsuit that she filed before this and just analyzing it at face value, for what it still feels weird to say, ugh, she did, she probably did trap him. Because we know, where we have a bias coming into it because we know her character. And the fact of the matter is, she is a lying liar face who tells lies, and she makes horrific allegations, against life ruining allegations. She tried to do it to Gannon, of all things, and so why it's just, it's a weird position to be in, because you want to look at her, you want to look at something like that and say, wow, how awful, right? If he barged into her house like that is wrong. No, I don't care. That's wrong, period. But then you look at how the lengths that she is willing to go to lie, and to lie about an innocent child. The accusations that she made against Gannon, which sent the investigation on multiple wild goose chases, that he was asking about drugs and bath salts. And, before that, it was the knife incident. And, so it's just, I don't
yeah.
know.
Oh my God. The claims she made against Gannon are so infuriating. But Lil Red just texted me, and this is like, it's a background section. It's
Little
in
red.
reference.
Yes, babe.
It's in reference to Letecia's prior criminal history. So this is what she was in: North Carolina, Robeson County Court Case 2001 CRSO 11193. Letecia was convicted after a trial for communicating threats, a misdemeanor, but I was not able to locate sentencing information. Letecia was also convicted of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle in Robeson County and was sentenced to 45 days confinement and 18 months of probation. They also listed that case number. I'm pretty certain those are the two that I tried to get, because it was
Mm-hmm.
Robeson County. But what was the one in Horry County? She did something there too. That was the ex-boyfriend, right? The beating him up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So,
And
yeah, bomb threat.
oh, the bomb threat too. I forgot
That
about
was,
that.
yeah, the communicating threats. What were you going to say? I didn't mean to stop you.
No, nothing. I'm reading this. Letecia has contrived all that is about her life and all that is her life, and has always done so. Yes, I mean, she is a lying liar face who lies. And I get it. I'm, I'm empathizing with Allie, because I understand it does feel weird to say things
Yeah.
like, she probably made it up, because that's just, typically that's not something that we
Yeah.
do. Allie and I, we usually stand up for the victim, and it feels weird to say that, because in that case it's Letecia. But I also want to make sure that we are checking ourselves, that I don't really care that much about, the claims that Leticia's making in her, latest lawsuit against the prison, about, her food being cold and stuff like that. to me, what
Yeah.
the ones that are the allegations that I have concerns about, regardless of who it is, making those allegations, are the allegations of SA, because Leticia's not the only person in that jail, right, in that prison. And if there is a correctional officer who's abusing their power and, you know, assaulting
Yeah.
inmates, that's wrong,
It's
period.
a
I don't
huge
care who it
problem.
is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the other thing, if she made allegations of actual cruel and unusual punishment, where, you know, she got caught with one too many Snickers bars in her bunk, and they sent her to, you know, the hole or the shoe for, you know, 10 months. That's, you know, and in between, in the interim of those 10 months, she got sick and was denied medical care. You know, those are the types of things that I'm interested in, not that Letecia swears that rats are getting in through holes in her in the windows in the cells, or that there's bugs, or, you know, like that kind of stuff is not that big of a deal to me. But you know,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I don't give a damn about your food being cold, you being cold, your shower being cold, any of that shit. And
Right.
honestly, for any of the inmates, as cold as that sounds, and I know and love people that are in jail or have been in jail, but when you commit crimes, you're not going to have really comfortable living. Jail isn't comfortable. You're not going to have the best food. You might be cold, whatever. But Jen's absolutely right. Like, if there's somebody in there that's supposed to be guarding the inmates and they are sleeping with and essaying inmates, then that matters. It does. And even, you know, no, even with Letecia, but especially because think of who else is it happening to. You know, it shouldn't happen to her either. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying, if you put your feelings, if your feelings for her make you not care about it happening to her, then think about the other inmates. And it's important that if that's happening, that people know about it. So,
Agreed.
well, how do you feel about medical care in prison? Do you feel like inmates, because one of the inmates that was, that's part of this lawsuit, that's most of her claims. They are related to medical care and how it's really terrible, and they're letting, you know, instead of treating cancer, letting it get worse and things like that. How do you feel about medical care in prison, and what should they expect?
Well, it's hard for me to be. I think that the healthcare in the United States in general is problematic and needs an overhaul. There is no reason why um, we shouldn't be able to um, we shouldn't be able to afford healthcare in this country. Period. And you know, and the fact that I'll give you an example with my granddaughter Olivia. My her dad got a raise, and what that did was push him $5, something crazy, 10, 15, maybe dollars over the line of her qualifying for Medicaid. So they had to purchase insurance,
Yeah.
discounted insurance, but insurance nonetheless. And some of Olivia's medications are, you know, two, three, four, $500 a month,
Yeah.
and I think that is ridiculous. I don't think that um, people in the United States of America should have to choose between getting their medications, life saving medications, or buying groceries. And so, until we address the overall healthcare situation in the United States, it's very difficult for me to focus on prison, because
Yeah,
the prison people aren't getting treated good, but the free people aren't getting treated good either. It's a problem.
that's a great point. That's I was gonna say good, but no, that's a great point because you know what? I wouldn't be surprised that healthcare in prison isn't very good, but also it's not very good for any of us. Now, specifically for just prisons, I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't know because it depends on, are they working? Can they help themselves at all? Should we just, I mean, let's just say like someone who has cancer and treatment is either going to save your life or end your life. What about something like that? Cancer treatment's probably very expensive. But does it matter? Does it depend on what they've done? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's just something I thought about since digging into
Hmm.
Leticia's lawsuits and then seeing the other people's and their claims and that kind of stuff. So
And it also depends on what prison you're in, where you are. What, I know somebody that provided health care in prison, specifically dialysis. And that is, it's, dialysis is an expensive and painful process. But, you know,
yeah,
they are, and these are prisoners of all walks of life and various crimes.
you're right.
But they get dialysis, which is something that if your kidneys are failing, you either can languish and pass away, or you can get dialysis. And, most people get dialysis in the interim waiting for transplants if they are a viable candidate for a kidney transplant. However, some people, for various reasons, age being one of them, like my grandmother, she was not a candidate for a kidney transplant because of her age. And so she was on dialysis, and she did dialysis for a long, long, long time until she just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I
Right.
have no joy. I mean, and she was one of those patients that was incredibly compliant. She would measure out her liquid intake. She watched the food that she ate, all of the things. And what's sad about it is that my Nana was an incredible cook. And I mean, now she had my Nana, like, she was kind of like me. Or I'm like her. She had a really like sharp tongue, in a joking way though. But when she was serious, it was also sharp. But when she cooked with love. And
I
she,
love that.
nothing, then when I got older and had a family, I can't tell you the time how long we used to spend on the phone. And I would ask her, well, Nana, how is it that when you make the beans, they're creamy and the cheese is kind of still stringy? And she would tell me, okay, well, because what you got to do is you got to turn the heat off and move the beans and then put the cheese in. The beans are hot and they'll melt it, but you don't lose it where the cheese completely disintegrates. I mean, she just taught me all kinds of stuff like that, and that's what she liked to do. And when she was on dialysis, she, she ate to survive, not for, and it just took something away from her. She couldn't cook like she used to, and she couldn't, she didn't like living like that. And
Right.
as sad as it was, I understood. I
Yeah.
didn't want her to go, but I didn't want her to be suffering and miserable. And she was.
Yeah, I get what you mean. At a certain point, you kind of don't want to see your loved one suffer anymore, and that's so sad. But actually, now that I'm thinking of it, my my brother was in jail and receiving kidney treatment like that. So yeah, and then you think of it like that, and it's somebody you love, and they haven't committed any violent crime or anything like that, and you think, should they be able to receive treatment? For something that's life saving like that, like it, then it,
They will get treatment. What's sad is that regular people who are free, aren't convicts,
yeah,
can't get cancer treatment,
yeah, you're right.
you know?
Yeah,
Or if they do, get cancer treatment, they have to decide, am I going to battle cancer or any other um, terminal illness, terminal disease? Am I going to fight this? And that's all I'm going to be able to do financially, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah says prisoners do get cancer treatment, chemo, radiation, surgery, the whole 9 yards, but the security measures are ridiculous. They never know when they will be going for appointments. However, their cancers tend to be diagnosed in a later stage, and that makes sense. And yeah.
What Lee the Bee said is 100% accurate. So I spent the first 10 years of my life in Tucson, Arizona. And in Tucson and in Phoenix and the surrounding areas, there's a lot of, in the wintertime, obviously, the snowbirds come. So what happens is when the snowbirds come, what they do is they drive the homeless out into the desert because there's still a lot of desert left in Arizona. So that's what they do in the wintertime. But in the summertime, when the snowbirds go away, that's when the homeless, start moving, coming in back into the cities, and they panhandle, and it's an awful existence. And a lot of the homeless population, a lot of them are homeless because they suffer from some type of mental illness, and they have used usually illegal substances as some sort of self medication, and it's just, we have a problem in this country, frankly, period, about overall health care, just in general, including mental health, all of it. We tend to be a society, the way our system works is that we would much rather treat the disease instead of recognizing that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So if people could get in and see a doctor on a regular basis, some of these, like diabetes and stuff like that, you can get ahead of it. And also mental health, because there are tons of studies that are done, and there's, of course, there's genetics that come into play. And if we had a better system in the United States, perhaps some of these things could be prevented by giving people an opportunity to have intervention and get mental health treatment before something happens. Of course, there's always, nothing is perfect. There will always be people who, we do have rights in this country, and we can choose not to take prescribed medication, whether that be for a disease or mental health or a mental illness. We're allowed to do that. We have that choice. So there will always be people that, slip through the cracks. But I think by and large, most people in the United States would opt for the pound of prevention rather, for the ounce of prevention rather than a pound of cure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's so true. Natasha had wrote in the chat, thank you for sharing that. I know that it's hard. And I had put back in the chat, I questioned myself about my brother. But I want to speak on this for a second, because she says, I could tell Allie, but I'm proud of you. And I completely relate to that. So it resonated with at least one of us. And I think it's just important to touch on that, because it's not just, we look at things one way until it might be our loved one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see it differently, because, like, for instance, like, if somebody I love is in prison for a crime, a drug crime, not selling drugs, and they're in prison for already hurting themselves, and they get sick with something like that, and they're going to be out in a year or two anyways, should you save their life and give them the dialysis and the medications that they need or whatever? Yeah, I think that you should. Like,
yeah.
Just looking at it from that perspective and knowing how that feels to be a family member and be like, what if they don't get what they need? So I don't know. It's just,
everybody that's in prison right now is a family member to somebody. They are somebody's family member, even Letecia. And let's think about, if we were having this conversation, right, me and Allie, and we added a third person on panel, namely Aunt B. And we spoke to Aunt B, and we were talking about this, and we were asking Aunt B how would she, about, let's say Letecia had been diagnosed with something that required ongoing continual medical care. And we're sitting over here saying she doesn't deserve it. She failed to render aid to Gannon. Why should she get it, right? But I can promise you that Aunt B, while she would understand why we thought like that, her perspective would be completely different because that's her loved one.
Absolutely. That is so true. And Aunt B, we've heard her cry over Tisha. Mm-hmm.
Because to Aunt B, we only know Letecia from her crime. That's the only experience we have with her. The crime that she committed and all the behavior in between waiting for trial, right? Which is abhorrent. That's the only part of Letecia that we know. But Aunt B knows the Letecia that was at one point a little girl. We don't know that Letecia.
Yeah. RL says, what do you think Leticia's brother would say?
Probably the same thing.
Yeah.
It's my sister.
Yeah.
And while I agree that she, what she did was horrible, how are we any better if we don't give her, medical intervention?
Right. I will say though, like if my loved one did something that Tisha did, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that because I don't know that I could like support them anymore. I mean, you would still love them, but how could you support them? You know what I mean? After, I don't know, it'd be so tough. Like
it would be tough. That's why I try really hard not to judge the family of the perpetrator because
11/11.
We don't know how we would react. We think we know. We always think we know how we're going to, think about it, you guys. Whenever you were getting, like for the women who were pregnant and for the men who were going to be daddies, we all had an idea in our head of how it was going to be until it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's hard to put yourself in that situation and I don't know. I've never been in those shoes. I hope I'm never in those shoes. I don't know how I would react. I don't.
Yeah, me too. Completely agree. Okay, Cortland, there's a couple comments I wanted to point out. Cortland says, my best friend was in prison at 17 for stealing cars and then got essayed in prison. And we know that it does happen. There's good and bad in every profession. And there are going to be guards who take advantage because, look, the situation they're in allows them to be like over
control.
Yes, in control of these other people. And if a bad person is in that situation, they're going to take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Monica says, I was diagnosed with lupus. I pay $800 a month to have health insurance. I'm supposed to go for tests to determine treatment, but I can't afford it until I get a second job. I am so sorry. That is so messed up.
It is messed up. That's a problem. You guys, back in the 50s, doctors made house calls. It wasn't a business then. Do you know what I mean? Yes, obviously there was, to some extent, it was a business in that they did a service and money was exchanged. Okay, but their primary goal was to help and care for their patients.
Yeah,
it's not like that anymore, and it's sad and it's wrong.
I agree. Oh, Mayla's mom, thank you for this conversation. I think it's so important. People are so quick to judge the family of perpetrators and don't think about if it was their family. That's why when I first said it, I hesitated because I'm like, I share a lot with you guys. I try to be as open as possible. I have all of my old social media open from my days when I looked like a fool. I've just decided to just be as open and honest as possible with the parts of life that aren't really that pretty. So, whew.
You all right, babe?
Yeah, but I just, that's important to me. So, yeah, thank you guys for the conversation too. And thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. Okay. I just think when it comes to being, as a society, I think this is just my personal opinion. And if you don't have the same opinion, that's cool. I'm not going to think anything less of you, and I hope you don't think anything less of me. But I think as a society, we have to be really, really careful and cognizant that while we're staring into the abyss, particularly in true crime, because this is all we deal with day in, day out, the worst crimes against our most vulnerable members of our society. And then we deal with, we talk about their punishment and all the things, right? But you got to be really careful as a society that while you're staring into the abyss, that the abyss doesn't stare back at you. You don't want to become the monster in the story. And
Yeah.
so when we start um, thinking about what people do and don't deserve, be based on something that they have done as far as like life-saving, medication and stuff like that, don't we then become, don't we, it's a slippery slope, and I worry about that.
Yeah. You're so
That's all.
right. I've seen it happen to people, and it,
Mm-hmm.
it does. Um, oh, Jenya says this is kind of interesting. She says her getting this settlement opened her mind to always try to put other people in shady situations to then do this stuff again and again, thinking everyone would fold and she'd get another payday. And I think that is so true. And that's Letecia to a T with other things too. Every experience in life where she has figured out how to
Mm-hmm.
manipulate, how to get her way, she's remembered and saved it for later. And we see that come out in these calls and these pretext calls, especially in all of her actions.
Exactly. That is 100% correct. I know people, are a couple of people, they're a couple, I should say, that all they do is sue and find a way to work the system and stuff like that. Um, and Letecia, to me, when I saw Leticia's lawsuits, they she reminded me of them.
Yeah.
Letecia reminds me of the type of person that would ignore the wet floor sign and then, have a slip and fall accidentally on purpose to try to get a payday. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
reminds me of that kind of. She reminds me of the episode of the Brady Bunch where that guy was in court acting like Carol backing into him, just permanently injured him for life or whatever, and it was all a sham. And that's what Letecia reminds me of. She's looking for a payday. She is miserable in her life and she's going to make people pay, and the only way now that she has to make people pay is through this lawsuit. She thinks she's bringing hell to the prison. That's what she thinks.
Yeah.
They're
I,
going to learn.
I agree. And she's never going to stop this shit.
No. Mm-mm. She will, no matter where she goes, where they put her, she will always be litigious.
Yep.
That's she, I think that she did, sit in her cell, and when she first got to the prison, I think she read that pamphlet, that welcome to prison handbook, handbook for the recently imprisoned, and all the guidelines. And I think what she then began to do is look for loopholes, because let's be honest, when somebody's been at their job for a long, long time, they have found little shortcuts that don't impact the actual doing of the job, but they found ways to make doing their tasks quicker, more efficient, right? And what Letecia has done is studied that and sees, oh, they violated this policy, they violated that policy, and she's just been studying and looking for things the entire time that she was in there until she got an opportunity. Then boom.
First chance she got. Absolutely
Mm-hmm.
agree. Patricia, I know that I've told you this before, but I have to acknowledge this and tell you again. I am so sorry. I cannot imagine the pain that you and your parents and your family have been through losing three. She's lost three siblings to drug addiction. Three.
It's hard.
It's horrible. My God, I am so sorry. I just cannot imagine what you guys have been through, and I'm just so sorry
I'm
for all of
sorry,
you.
babe. I'm sorry.
That's why it is important. You're right. Make sure you check out what I sent you tonight about Kiara Jones. Not for tonight, but wanted you to see. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mayla's mom. All right, you guys. Alicia, we're about to go too. And thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank all you guys for being here. Oh, neat. You're sweet. Thank you. Jen, thank you for going through this with me. Like
Oh, you're welcome, babe.
when I went to ask you,
Yeah.
I'm like, do I ask her? Because I don't want you to feel like, dude, I keep coming on you, like keep coming on there over and over, helping you read.
So I
Like,
did. What did I do tonight? I didn't help. You read all by yourself.
yeah, I know, because I wasn't going to ask you unless I was
Oh
like
my
really
God.
struggling. So, because I feel bad, like
Why?
I don't know. I just
If
feel
I
like,
didn't want to be up here, I wouldn't be up here. I like talking about these kinds of things with you because we always have such interesting conversations about broader topics. Yes, we have Letecia making a lot, suing the school system, right? We're talking about that, but there are far-reaching implications with it, and those are and we always talk about stuff like that.
yeah,
We don't just talk about that, that one thing and stay like that. You know what I mean?
yes,
So if I didn't
really
want to come, I wouldn't come. I always want to. I love our conversations.
well, thank you. And I do too. And I'll come on yours anytime. And I just appreciate you. I really do.
Oh,
Because, yeah, you bring some, you think of things and know things that I don't know and I don't think of. So it makes it
I'm
really
older than you,
interesting.
babe. It's life
Well,
experience.
whatever. You're just a
I've seen
smart,
some shit.
you're just a smart and cool
Oh,
person. So
thank
it,
you.
you know, so I appreciate it. And
I'm excited for your birthday. What are you gonna do? You got plans?
yes, I'm going to the beach. I know that. And then
Girl,
just
I'm
like
so
an
excited
hour
for
from here,
you.
but still. And yeah, I'm not gonna do like I hope to do nothing. That's my plan, but we'll see. Like
Um,
nothing. Like
I'm excited for school tomorrow. Are the kids excited?
yes,
Do
they
they
are.
like their teachers?
They do, but they're nervous and they're in the same class.
Oh,
So
how did that? Oh my goodness. I
I
wonder if
know.
I bet you that will change.
I hope. I don't know if it can, so hopefully it works out. We shall see.
I think it'll be fine. I think he'll have his group of friends because they're at that age now where they don't really, it's not like middle school. So, he will have his group of buds and she'll have her group of girls. I think it'll be fine either way. I'm
Yeah.
so excited for them and I cannot wait to see the little drawings and stuff that Bentley comes home with. Those are my favorite.
Well, I'll send you pictures for sure and, all the things and I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully it works out. And then yeah, well, okay, let me say hey to Big Weavy. Good to see you. And Bushi says, I've lost a sister, a brother, a nephew, and another nephew to prison for life for murdering a man over 2 grams of weed. Oh my God, Bushi.
I'm sorry,
I
Boo.
am so sorry. I am so, so sorry.
That's
And
hard.
yeah, it is. And I love and appreciate all you guys. Thank you for the happy birthdays and thank you to the mods. And before we go, let me say a couple things. First of all, if you haven't subscribed to Jen, please go check out her channel. She covers lots of different stuff, Letecia stuff, but also Sarah Boone, Gypsy, and many other things. She's very close to 10K, so please go check out her channel. Um, and Jen, what do you have like any plans in the next coming days for the channel?
Yes. So I have been looking at some stuff regarding Sarah Boone, and I wanted to cover some of those things. Um, I want to talk about the alleged CPS incident. There's for years it's been going around that Sarah put her son in the suitcase, resulting in a CPS call, and
Yes.
apparently proof does exist. And so I was given a link, and I'm going to go and check that out. And then there's a couple of psychologists that have given their opinions on Boone and her behavior and maybe some whys. And I'm not talking about her behavior like the crime, mainly the stuff that she says in the courtroom and how she acts, and how it's she acts like it's always David and the versus Goliath with her,
Yeah.
and she's, obviously David, and everything is stacked against her. And people wake up in the morning and the first thing they think about is, how can we fuck with Sarah Boone today? She thinks she's that important. And so I have some stuff I want to talk about with that. And there is something else, but it has escaped my brain for a moment. Oh, and I want to get you guys' opinion. So I'm glad that you're all in here right now, and especially you, Allie, because I watched that interview with the spokesperson, and that is what he calls himself, Tony, for Seth Rogers. And I mean, I don't really want to
Yeah.
go over there are some things about that interview that I don't really want to call it an interview, because that's really not what it was. The panel, I mean, that's not how the live started out. That's not the intention of the live. But anyway, I do want to point out some inconsistencies in stories that he's told, but I actually would like to have a broader conversation about he's not nobody on YouTube, unless they falsify evidence, is going to impact the investigation into Sebastian's disappearance. Law enforcement is handling that. But I do want to talk about the broader implications on, what it's done, the circus that surrounds this case. But I don't know how people feel about that, because I haven't covered the case, and because there is so much drama surrounding it. Am I going to be adding to the drama and talking about drama? Do you know what I mean? I'm a little on the fence about that.
No, I think this. First of all, no, you haven't been covering the case, but you've been watching every step of the way with me and other people. Like, we've talked about it since the beginning. So I know you know the case. Second of all, if it's something that you feel is important that you can add in a positive way, then I think that you should do it. If I think that, yeah, then I just think you should do it if you feel called to do it, and it's something that's really on your mind and heart. Then it's not going to hurt. Especially, you never spoke about it. You speak about it one time. You're not going to make it your everyday nightly gig, like we're seeing happen, because that does happen,
right?
But I know that you don't have any plans on doing that, so I don't see a problem with it at all.
Okay, because the way I want to do it is my focus is on answers that Tony gave specifically, not who asked the questions, not who's on there. For me, it's not about the panel. It was about what he said. And there are some very specific things that he said that I think are important, and I want to address.
Yeah. I think you should do it then. If you want to do it, I say do it. I would love to see that. And then Bushi, Bikram says she's going to send that to me. I'll talk about it for sure.
I know this case.
I plan on doing, like, now that the kids are going to be in school, I want to do I still want to do some evening stuff sometimes, but I want to have like a daily current, even if only 50 people come, right? Because I know a lot of people do stuff in the mornings, and this is going to be not the popular cases, like more of a true crime news kind of thing, where it's less popular stuff, and that's okay. But I want to do something like that, like in the mornings. I don't know. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to make it work or what it's going to be, but something's going to be happening here.
Well, I'm excited. I want to ask you one more thing before I forget. Did you happen to see Arctic Fox True Crime's post? He basically issued a challenge to true crime content creators that I thought was rather interesting, and I wanted to see if you would be interested in doing something like this. He wants true crime content to creators to focus on one missing person. That can be a child, an adult, whatever case, a different one each week, because there are so many.
Yeah, I'd be down to do that. I would do that anyways.
Yeah.
questions that I have. So I would definitely be down to do
And
that.
we've talked about doing something like that before, just because we
Yeah.
have, you know, we want to get the word out on there are a lot of cases that need attention. And I know that people feel that if all of a sudden everybody stopped talking about Sebastian, then the case would lose momentum. And I want to tell you guys, I understand that fear, but I have to tell you that's really not how it works. Law enforcement is going to continue. They are not paying attention to what we're doing over here on YouTube or any other social media. They're going to continue to investigate this case and chase down leads until they can't anymore, or until they reach a conclusion. Okay. So we don't have, as much as we like to think we have some, all we can do is talk about the facts of the case, put his name and his face out there and a picture, and tell people what they should be on the lookout for. Beyond that, that's all that we can really do. We're not going to solve this case. We aren't, because we don't have enough information. We just don't.
Yeah.
And I think that if people that amassed a large following by talking about this case, or because they began talking about this case, started talking about cases that they all need attention. There's no case that deserves more or less. Every case of somebody missing deserves attention. And I don't think that if they were to stop talking about Sebastian, I don't think people would forget about his case. Law enforcement wouldn't stop investigating, but it might bring some very much needed attention to another missing persons case. You never know who you're reaching
Yeah.
when you go live, who's watching live, and then who watches on the replay. And maybe somebody in your audience saw something, but they didn't know that what they saw involved a missing child or a missing person, right?
Yep.
And it jogs a memory,
That's
and
so
they tip in, and it's what breaks the case wide open. It's that does happen.
Yep. I've literally done videos that had hardly anyone in there. I'm talking under 40 people, and there were people that needed to see it, that did see it, that were able to help. I'm not joking, and that's on a missing case like 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and there was hardly no one in there. You are so right. Sometimes it doesn't take a ton of people to see it, but you could be bringing awareness that could really make a difference. That's where you could really make a difference, not covering all the drama
Exactly.
daily. I want to say this though, and then I'm going to let you guys go because I
Okay.
really had to go pee. But Amber, so I'm so glad that you came in because you made me think of this. I'll share it when we get off here on my community tab. So tonight we had open house, and I didn't get to go, but this looked really interesting. Amber had a stream, and she was covering Sarah Boone before the crime, and she had all
Mhm.
these pictures of her before the crime and stuff, and it was really cool, the thumbnail to see. So I think that would be really awesome. I think you guys, if you're interested in that, should check it out. I bet it was great. I'm
It
gonna
was a good stream. I was there.
Oh, awesome.
It was a good stream. It was a
So
good stream.
yeah. I'm gonna go watch that. You guys check it out, and don't forget, subscribe to Bindi. And then Jen, thank you so much for coming. And yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good night. Hey, K-Braze. It's almost K-Braze's birthday too, you guys. He's
What?
one day before me. So same year, one day before.
Like a calendar of
Yeah,
all of our chatters' birthdays, so that when they have a birthday, we can acknowledge it.
that would be really, really cool. We should do something like that. But
I do, RL, I do remember Joe Namath on the Brady Bunch. Sure do.
all
Sure
right, you
do.
guys. I'm gonna let you go, Bindi. I love and
Okay, babe.
appreciate you, and love and
Love you
appreciate you
too,
guys in
babe.
the chat. Thank you for being here. Hey, real Pocahontas, mine is the 24th. Thank you to the mods, and I hope you guys have a great night. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.